We're here with Delaina Baker.
Hey
Hi,
guys.
Delaina.
Hello. I'm so excited.
What's up?
Yeah,
So
dive in. I didn't really, I'm here. I'm all
Yeah,
yours. I'm
perfect.
cheap, but I'm easy, but I'm not cheap. I guess is that the term? Is that what it is?
Easy but not cheap. Yeah,
I'm so excited.
I
We're so
know.
excited. Where did your presence start on social media and how did we get to where we are today?
It's funny. Well, the business side of it, obviously, we'll talk about, but like you said, but for Facebook, I kind of just started putting funny posts up, just about life and with kids and, just life. And I tend to try to make people laugh. I don't really get into politics. I don't really, I just feel like I'm a kind of a breath of, relief, comic relief that people may need. So I gained a following on Facebook quite a bit. And in our community, I live in Orlando. So I call it small Lando, where like kind of everybody knows everybody. And
I've heard that before. Yeah.
I love living here. It's a great, I don't like Florida necessarily because of the heat, but I love Orlando. So there's that. So I just I did grow a following for that. And I'd run into people in the, in real life and like, oh my God, you're so funny. Oh, you should follow Delaina. She's so funny. And then I stepped into stand up. I ended up doing stand up comedy and I loved that too. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. Well, then COVID hit. And then on the business side, I had some clients that wanted to get on TikTok. And I was like, well, shit, I got to figure this out. I don't even know how to use it. My kids use it. But I'm like, I don't know. And I was a professional dancer out of high school, like to help me get through college. And I was like, I'm not ever dancing on TikTok. No,
so
ma'am.
Funny. It's everyone's first impression of TikTok is like, do I have to dance? No.
Nope. So I was like, oh, let me figure out TikTok. And I just started putting, I would do a few voiceovers and then I'd tell stories and then I'd kind of, real life stories that happened and I'd put a comedic twist on it, much as I would do in stand up. And then Heather L. Rex, who we all love and adore, she duetted me and it went apeshit viral. So I was like, I woke up and my kids are like, Mom, you have like 80,000 followers. I was like, is that good? And they're like, dude, they freaked out. So
famous.
At that point, it was very hard to, run a business and keep up with that. It was very, because there were things coming in so fast. So at the time, my son was my oldest was like 16 or 17. And so I had to have him log in and reply to some of the comments. Sorry to burst a bunch of people's bubble, but it's funny to see.
Yeah.
I mean, a 16-year-old typing, acting like a 40-year-old woman. Yes, queen. Yes. I see you, boo. Acting like
I
me.
love it.
So he would kind of help because I didn't know what to do. And they were teaching me as I was going. And so it was I didn't really expect that to happen. And I've had a couple things go viral and I noticed if I don't get on TikTok, I'll get some messages. Hey, are you okay? Like, oh my God, did you die? Did it happen to you guys?
No, we talk. Well, yes, but we talk about that, how weird that side of it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You just put the app down and you go about your life. And then you have these people who are worried about you.
Yeah. They're like, hey, are you okay?
Are you okay?
What's I'm fine. I'm just busting my ass over here.
Living life. So you are the founder of Out Loud Social Media, and do you find the focus is TikTok now, and people are going away from Instagram and these other platforms? Like, are most of your clients focused on TikTok?
So that's the neat twist. We work more on the B2B side. Mm-hmm. So we had a client that came to us and was like, hey, we should get on TikTok. And so learning about it, obviously with the algorithms and whatnot, you have to put content up every day and you have to be willing to put yourself out there and be on camera. And how are you going to get that video content? And just for a business in itself, coming up with video content is difficult. It's difficult and expensive unless you have somebody solely devoted to it, to grabbing that every single day. So we mostly focus on the other platforms. We do a lot of, Facebook, obviously Instagram, LinkedIn's a big one for us. And then we do email marketing as well. And then we have some SMS marketing clients as well, like text messaging and things like that, depending on what the business is. And of course we run their ads too, if they need to. And then whatever comes down the line with that. But some people say they want to get on TikTok. And then when they realize the content that they have to come up with, they're like, yeah. And then you have to think about the audience. So if it's a local audience, like if they're trying to reach just Orlando per se, I would say put your content like that on Reels. I wouldn't put it on TikTok because it's a lot of work. I mean, you can still, if you want to, because it's, six, one half dozen the other at some point, but don't put a lot of energy into just TikTok. You know, if you have a website and people can purchase things, or you have an affiliate link or something like that on your link in bio on your TikTok, then yeah, absolutely devote it to TikTok because you'll reach more people. But, you know, if you're just a business here in Orlando and you only serve people in Orlando, it's really not worth your time. You're worth your time more, you know, doing strategic partnerships within LinkedIn or Facebook or, you know, email marketing and whatnot. So.
Because essentially, once you put it out into TikTok, you don't know if your neighbors are seeing it or if someone in Canada.
Right.
Yeah, there's besides using hashtags, there's not really a way to direct the area that it's in unless you do an ad. And those are, you know, obviously a different story, different day.
So what would you see for a budding podcast, such as The Influence, a social media podcast?
A podcast with Abby, Jean, and
Nick. What makes the most sense? You know, we're starting to gain some traction. We are posting on TikTok and Instagram. You know, there's definitely the business side of things. What makes the most sense as far as like marketing and getting ourselves out there a little more?
It's funny. I did a class with a friend of mine who actually does podcasts. So we did a marketing class during COVID because that's a big boom in podcasting, you know, hit. So the first thing is providing value. You're providing value and you're providing entertainment through your podcast every time you guys come on here and every time you edit and every time you post. So it's about breaking down the value that you provide on each channel. So what kind of information are you going to give somebody that's going to make them laugh or entertain them? And Instagram, taking clips of it, maybe like a graphic with a quote from it. That's a funny quote that you guys come up with, or a funny quote from a, you know, your guests. So taking one piece of content and making it into 10 different pieces of content is what's helpful. That way you're drawing it out. And so if you're making graphics, if you're making memes, if you're making, if you do any email marketing, if you do obviously the videos and then screenshots, you know, bubbles coming out of Abby Jean or coming out of your mouth, you know, with funny things like that, just to kind of taking that one set of things and being able to stretch that out as far as you can. But it's all about providing value. So if there's something valuable, like a tool, like if you came up with a downloadable, hey guys, if you want to start a podcast, here's the way to do that. Here's the top things you need to do. And you're providing that in email, you're going to get more of a following. But for podcasts, it's all about subscribers and downloads, right? So if you want to build that, you have to say, what's in it for me? Why am I going to hit subscribe? Why am I going to leave a review? Definitely asking for reviews and definitely asking people to hit subscribe every time you guys are on it, which, you know, it's a pretty standard practice in everything that you do, whether it's on your Instagram. Always having that call to action is super important. So providing value, giving people something to look forward to, and then always providing a call to action.
So when you go to make content on your page, do you apply all of these things, or are you just solely like doing it for funsies?
It's like on my TikTok, it's totally funsies. Total funsies. Typically what happens is I'll make a funny Facebook post and I'll see it go crazy. And I'm like, I could do a TikTok out of it, you know? Yeah. Or if like I ordered this thing off Catherine Benson's TikTok, I've been ordering everything in her kitchen. And so I found this pickle thingy that holds it. I was like, this is the coolest shit I have ever bought in my kitchen. And I was like, I gotta tell people. And like, I gotta tell people this. I don't want to be an influencer. I don't want to like sell products. That's not my goal. I really just want it for more brand awareness in the sense of doing stand-up or doing, being an MC of events, which I've done as well. You know, that's how I want to use TikTok as a platform, you know, and I can do clean versions too, but you know, because I get those hate comments too. I'm like, you're not a lady by saying the F word. And I was like, well, fuck off.
You.
But yeah, exactly. So, so like that one was just like I got to do this video. And I was like, okay, do I have makeup on? Okay, I do.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, but it's kind of hard. I have 4 teenage boys, and a husband. Our house is not that big. We have a barking dog. And it's like, so being able to have that alone time to do it, I will not do a TikTok in front of anybody at all. So yeah,
it's embarrassing, right?
It is.
Yeah.
You know, because I see the influencers of Instagram or influencers in the wild, and they're like, you know, on their, and I'm like, God, they look ridiculous. And then, you know, you see people on the beach dancing and, you know, doing
that's my favorite.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm laughing at them.
Not a care in the world. Yeah.
That is.
But don't think I'm not going to watch it. I will. I'll watch it when it's on TikTok. Of course.
The girls on the beach with their ring lights.
Exactly.
I love it.
Right. Like
so
there's
good.
the sun.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be weird if there was like a natural source of light for you? So you
Yeah.
wouldn't have to bring that. So cool. God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
Mysterious ways.
And Abby
Right.
G makes me laugh all the time. She's like, these are the nails.
Yeah.
And I'm
These
like,
are
oh
the
my God, I love it.
So now.
I mean, we get hate. I mean, we all
Yeah.
get it, you know, and it sucks for my kids to see it, you know, but now my
We
kids
have
are
a-
all like, fuck that guy, you know?
Yeah.
And
What a douchebag.
yeah,
Beat
exactly.
Mom.
You're like, Mom, kick him in the taco. I'm like, I got you. Like, it's all about sticking up for mom. And then one of my sons had a kind of he got like 1,000 views on a video for him, and
Ooh.
teenagers, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people were kind of hating on him a little bit, and he's got a thick skin. He's adorable, and he's always out there. He'll put himself out there, and he's so adorable about it. But he's like, what do you do like when you get hate? I was like, let me show you, son. And then you can ignore it. You know, I'm trying to be like the mom, but really inside I'm like, you tell them you fuck up their day. That's what
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but I can't really tell them that because I could really hurt somebody's feelings. So with my writing background, which is what I went to school for. So anyway,
But do you? Do you fuck up their day?
sometimes I'll do it, and then I was like, you know what, it's just a waste of my time. You know,
Yeah.
It just is a waste of time. If I'm gonna hurt somebody's feelings, it's gonna be in the Walgreens, you know, line, which I have done
Yes.
numerous times. Just with a bunch of asshats that try to, you know, bully other people. It's like when somebody's bullying somebody, I will stick up and be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
y'all can't.
No, we're not doing this here.
I get myself in trouble sometimes that way, but
But I
that's what
love
I'm here
that.
for.
Yeah.
And you raised 4 boys, so like I believe every second of what you're saying.
Yeah, we have a unique dynamic. So we're a blended family. So 2 are my stepsons and 2 are my biological sons, but we've been
Love that.
married for, you know, close to 9 years. So they've kind of all grown up together, and,
Yeah.
you know, they don't really know any different. And so it's quite a rambunctious situation.
I love that.
Yeah.
I want to
Glad.
talk
I do
about
love-
your comedy because obviously
Yes.
we can see and hear it here
I know, I love
today,
this.
but there's some like writing in your past and some comedy.
Yeah.
How did that all get started? And do you plan on continuing it like once we're allowed to be in public again?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think so. Yeah.
It's really
I mean, it started. So when I went to college, I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to write, you know, a New York Times bestseller by the time I was 25, because it was stupid. So I didn't, whatever. So that's what I went to school for. I love writing. I'm really great at it. And I noticed that the older I got, my writing style became more comical.
Mhm.
And I didn't really think about stand-up comedy, but I worked at an ad agency or a marketing agency at the time. And my boss, who's amazing, still a very good dear friend of mine, Stephanie, she's like, you know what? They have these stand-up classes down at the SAC Comedy Club. You should take them. And I was like, yeah, I got 4 kids, you know, this is like
Busy.
about
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago. And I was like, I got a lot going on, you know? And then she was like, you know what, if you don't take these classes, I'm going to kick your ass. And listen, she knows a lot of people in Orlando. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that could happen. So I took the classes and I absolutely loved it. And I nailed the class, and I nailed their little graduation thing. And I did another comedy set after that, and have done some MC work after that. And I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And then COVID hit, like then and there, and that kind of sucked. So it kind of put a halt on it. But I tend to like to be very much into the community. Like I love doing community work. Even some of our clients are nonprofit clients. And then we actually have a nonprofit that they don't pay for their service, that we just provide it for them because it's an organization I'm passionate about. So when they have events or things like that, I offer, hey, I might not be a newscaster that does most of the galas, and maybe I'm not doing that, but if there's any other way that I can go out and raise awareness and be comical about it and gain more traction and, you know, sponsorships and donations, by all means, that's what I want to do. So I want to hone in on doing that, not necessarily, going to a club at 2 a.m. and waiting for my mic like Mrs.
Yeah,
Maisel. Like that's
right.
Yeah.
maybe not the area, you know, and I'm not afraid to talk about my vagina. I talk about my vagina to the Target cashier, much to my husband's chagrin, but you know, I don't care. So whatever people want to talk about, I'll go up, and I'm an open door. So that's kind of how that or open book. Yeah. Book. So that's kind of how that came out. And then there's some clients that we have that we do need that comical twist to their writing, but it's quite funny that there's more B2B and there's a lot more serious writing that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. And when I got out of college, I wrote SEC compliance reports. I don't know if you know what those are, but
Sounds boring.
It sounds
like super boring.
Yeah.
It's so super boring. It's if you invest in something and you get like that booklet at the end of the year and it's like thin paper.
Yeah.
It's from the Securities and Exchange Commission. When you invest in something, I wrote those, and I loved the company. The company was great, and I loved my job, and it was very, lucrative. But Lord, but then I had babies and stayed home. So here we are.
I love hearing stories like that.
I know.
Where it's like you get that really fucking boring pamphlet. That was me.
Did you fall
I nailed
asleep?
it. I nailed it. But
did you have nothing else to read while you were taking
what
a
a
shit?
snooze.
Right.
You're welcome.
Did you ever try to
God.
slide in a fuck you on like
I would have loved that.
paragraph
Half
7?
of the shit I didn't even know what I was writing because it's accounting, and I don't do accounting at all. So a lot of it was things that I didn't really understand. Mine was more grammatically and having to write words like respectively 800 times and making sure it was straight quotes, not curly quotes. So it was a lot of that I didn't quite get.
I wanted to talk a little bit about, we touched on it earlier, but repurposing content. And I think, if you've got something that is great, or you compile sort of, even on the business side of things, like the services that you offer, or you make a TikTok version of things, I think it's so smart to be able to repurpose that content then into a graphic or a reel. Or how do you see like the most successful ways to repurpose content, or what platforms do you use, I guess, for editing or being able to repurpose content?
So when you take any kind of content and you want to break it down, we build everything, and it should go with everybody. It's the 3 E's. It's the social media rule of thirds, and it's engage, educate, and entertain. So if you're putting your content into those 3 batches, typically if you've got like a podcast with Nurse Missy, okay, and you have a goal of, you want to at least make 10 posts out of, what she's doing. You take a little clip of a quote of hers, you make a graphic out of a quote of hers. So now, and then you do a meme. So like a meme about it is entertaining. This is inspiring. This is educational. This is, you kind of break your content up into that it sort of into the pillars, those 3 kind of things. And then you'll be able to come up with a bunch of different content. As for the platform, whatever platform has the most, like right now with Instagram, reels are big. So you want to make a lot of reels, but also in your feed too, those graphics, inspirational graphics with any kind of quote are huge. People love them. And if you can animate them using simple Canva animations, and you pull that in and you get those posted, Instagram loves it and everybody else loves it. So depending on the platform, however you want to put it. But of course, with TikTok, you would put different clips, different whatever. You could even put together a bunch of different clips of somebody saying something that's everybody says the same thing of some sort. And then on your podcast, maybe at the end of every podcast, you can say, hey, what would be the quote that you live by? Right. And so now you've got another piece of content. So building your podcast and your questions into what you want your content to be, that's also helpful too. And then now you've got sort of a list every time you have it, and you know exactly what to put out. So now you're pre-planning ahead of time. That's a little type A. That's fine. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's smart. I love that.
Do you always find that like stuff you think is going to hit so hard, like you think, oh God, this is gold, and then it flops?
100%.
I think after hearing like what you're saying now, I think it's because the joke is like too smart.
Could be. And then the stupidest shit, I'm like,
yes,
that was funny.
I was like, things go crazy.
My recent one that went viral about, don't fuck with women over 40. I was just pissed that day because somebody was messing with Parody Mom. Somebody was messing with Natalie, and they were messing with Heather. And I was like, oh, fuck that noise. And so I made a video, and I totally didn't expect that. I thought for sure I did get a lot of hate from it. I don't give a shit about that, but I didn't think that would go viral. But then ones that I actually put effort into, I was like, that flopped 100%. And then I feel like an asshole.
I know.
20% of the people see 20% of the content, 20% of the time. So if you really dig down into that formula, which is, mind boggling, not a lot of people see your content at the first time unless they go through all your stuff. Even if they go through it again, this is something we've had to train clients with too. Even if they see the same content again 6 months from now, that's still a good thing. That's brand awareness. And number two, it reminds them of something. And oh my gosh, this made me laugh and made me smile. And I loved seeing it again. So there's really nothing bad that's going to come of it. Whereas some people seem to think, oh my God, people are just going to get bored. They saw the same thing. Nah, bro, they're not. I guarantee you they're not. I've not been able to prove that in the years I've been doing this. So
do you find it difficult to talk about other platforms on certain platforms? Like, do you find it hard to talk about LinkedIn if you're on Instagram, or do you have, you know what I mean? Because I feel like so much is like I personally can't talk about the podcast on my TikTok, or else it gets 3 views.
That's a good, I don't know.
And we've tested it a couple times.
They throw it for sure.
Say the word podcast, it's like, Abby, shut up. Sit in the corner.
Interesting. I don't know that I talk about it. We're building up what's funny is it's the shoemakers kids never have shoes. Our out loud social media isn't great social media. I mean, it's good content that's on there. It's just we're not doing exactly what we tell people to do because we're busy doing it for other people.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if I've talked about, if I go on LinkedIn, and I usually do a quick video, helping people out. I don't know. That's a great question, but I don't know if I necessarily do talk about it. But for your case, that's interesting. That's really interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And it's across all platforms. Like even on my personal Facebook, if I post the link, like no one will see it.
Yeah. Well, Facebook has a hard time with external links to begin with. So they don't like them. They don't want you to leave the platform.
Right.
So especially if it's a YouTube link, oh my gosh, Facebook and YouTube, they don't get along at all.
Yeah.
Which ultimately means Google and Facebook don't get along. So, and I think with Facebook being owned by now Meta, that's trying to be more of this conglomerate, there's definitely going to be a lot of pushback to leave the platform. They're not necessarily going to push that content quite a bit. Facebook's really hard for everybody right now. Yeah, businesses alone, even lead gen ads, even the way we present organic content, it's really difficult. It used to be very simple. I have one guy, colleague, Eddie, he does really great with a lot of engagement. I can't figure out how he's getting it. I mean, he's doing all the right things. We're doing all the same things that he's doing, and he tends to get it a lot more. I'm not sure. So it's more about engagement of people sharing your content on Facebook to get that reach that you want. And then Facebook starts to go, oh, wait, this might be important. Even the most popular people are really struggling on Facebook, which is why they've moved over to Instagram and doing reels. And of course, Adam Mosseri said, hey, video is king right now on Instagram. Take note of that. So people are obviously switching gears into what kind of content they develop for that.
Do you ever have your friends reach out to you and say help me? Help me.
Yeah, absolutely. I love talking about it, which is great. So I'll help anybody anytime. So definitely they ask for help most of the time. I do have friends that are clients, but I do free classes. I do free Zooms for friends and you just want to hop on and do whatever. We're actually starting this other, kind of Facebook group to kind of help people with that, to jump on and ask questions and be helpful. And, very much like Rachel Peterson does, and kind of jumps and helps and all of that, but we're not necessarily selling anything. It's literally just about organic, helping everybody. They do ask questions. A lot of times though, those questions will end up becoming a client because they're like, I don't want to do it. Yeah. They realize how much time is involved because social media, it takes a lot of time. And we found that niche that people don't have the time to do, especially in large organizations. So we work with a lot of chief marketing officers of large organizations, or we work with marketing departments. And we also work with marketing companies that they have clients that their client needs social media and they don't have that bandwidth to be able to do that. To keep somebody on staff full time with social media is really difficult because because right now we have a staff we have a project manager. She also does all the operations. You've got strategy, you've got a copywriter, you've got a graphic designer, you've got somebody posting and scheduling and monitoring. There's a lot of pieces and parts to it. So I found that niche and decided to hone in on it, and it's been extremely profitable.
If you had to pick one thing that has changed with social media marketing the most in the last 5 years, what would you say it is?
COVID.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. My business actually took off because of COVID. People realized that they needed that more digital presence. I think they're starting to see they should have had it in the beginning anyway. Yeah. So once 2020 hit, people were panicking and didn't know how to get the message out. And it was also a really big learning lesson that you can use social media all day, but if you're not building your email list, you're really going to screw yourself, because social media could go away. Look how many times Facebook and Instagram have gone down. How long?
Yeah.
Right. So you don't have access to any of that content. You don't own any of that content. You don't own any of those followers. But if you are building an email list and you're using it effectively by providing value on a consistent basis, just twice a month, that's still consistent, and getting, information out to them and providing that value through that, you still have that relationship. Email is a personal relationship with that person opening it. So, and they get to know you a little bit better because they're opening it on their time, and, they can click on your links and do all of what they need to do in their emails, but you'll always have that information. And of course, when you use email, if you were to put any ads out, you've got something called lookalike audiences that you can create within your Facebook ads to grab people that look just like Jane Smith will be, Sarah, Peterson over here, and they look alike, and you can grab more followers that way. So there's lots of things you can do with your email list, but it's extremely powerful, because our email marketing is dead. It's not. It is the highest, no matter what the business is, it's the highest converting way to get a hold of people.
Yeah, it's so hard to get just the Joe Schmo follower to convert to another platform, to convert to a buyer of something. It's so hard. It
is very, very difficult. Email is definitely the obviously the easiest way to go, because it's right there and it opens up into a different page or whatever you want, wherever your other content or whatever it is you want them to buy or, watch, it's there for them. And they do it on their own time. Whereas you're fighting with the algorithms of every other platform, right? LinkedIn, I get a lot of traction with that. I get a lot of clients from LinkedIn. And it's a little bit easier to grow on LinkedIn because of the way that they do their engagement. So if you've ever been on LinkedIn and it's, it'll say, Sandy Smith commented on this post. Well, this person that has the post, you've never seen him before in your life, but they said that Sandy Smith was like, and they're like, oh, wait, shit, you're interested. So the way they do that, it's easier to grow that way. So it's helpful.
Interesting.
And Pinterest is another one as well.
I hear that about Pinterest. Yeah. Specifically for podcasting, which is weird.
So Pinterest, and you have to remember too, Pinterest is not a social media app or platform. It's a search engine. So much like, YouTube and Pinterest are search engines. They're not social media platforms. So if you treat it as such, you treat Pinterest like a search engine, and you think about the audience and who you're targeting and how you're going to target them to get them to watch videos, click on your content, or follow you on Pinterest. It's a little bit more strategic, much like YouTube, with keyword strategies, keyword descriptions, keyword rich descriptions, and definitely grabbing them with a moving video within your Pinterest pin, your pin picture.
What are some of the biggest mistakes you see companies or individuals make as far as content goes?
Not showing up.
Yeah,
I think that's the biggest mistake. People, much like myself, I'm very type A, and obviously I talk fast. But I'm type A in the sense that I over analyze and I overthink, and I am afraid of it not being perfect. And so it's like an imposter syndrome, if you will, part of that. So if people just showed up and just put the camera right up to their face and just talked, that's more meaningful and more one-on-one, and people start to trust that person more, but they're afraid to jump on the camera. But you need to build that personal relationship with your audience no matter what you're doing, talking about your day, random things. I mean, we're a voyeuristic world. I mean, there's voyeuristic websites for certain things for that. So, we want to watch everything everybody's doing. So anything you're doing throughout the day or that you may not think is that interesting, your audience wants to know, and they want to get to know you. And that's how you get to know them. So by not showing up is detrimental. You can't do it wrong. People are like, well, I didn't have the right filter and I didn't say the right thing. And oh my gosh, the link and this and this and this. Like, you're overthinking it. Just get up there and talk and put captions on. Captions would probably be the second one. I forget to do it a lot too. But captions are helpful because I'm sitting next to my husband who's watching, Meet the Press, and he doesn't want to listen to, TikTok.
I would say like less than 50% of the time do I even have the sound on.
Exactly. And everybody's like that. So especially if you're waiting in the DMV, right. You're not going to you're going to have your earpods, or you're going to have captions on, because you don't want to stand in the DMV line and people catch you going, I ain't never been with an Eddie. You don't want like any of that going on. So
except for that one fucking person who does it. And they just don't, they're like talking on speakerphone and watching their videos.
Right here.
Yeah.
Right here.
The worst.
If you're going to do this, give me a backstory, talk louder, enunciate.
I'm going to get involved.
let me ask questions. I need to know which side I'm on. I might be able to help you.
Right.
So
Right.
Tell me what she did. Start from the beginning.
Yeah.
whose day do I got to fuck up? You know, whose
Once
side am I on?
again.
We were talking about this the other day. Like, I worry about like the younger generations when, like you were just saying, like an email list. And to me, I'm like, yes, oh my gosh, an email list. I feel like they'd be like, email? How am I gonna get everybody's email?
Right.
They don't even give out phone numbers anymore. They're giving each
Yeah.
other their Snapchats. Like, it freaks me out about the younger generations when we start talking about stuff like that. But I'm like, if you're gonna do social media and you want it, like all of those things, you have to be able to do. I don't know if they can email.
Right. I know. I was thinking about my kids that way.
Cash isn't real.
Yeah, they have no idea.
Same thing.
When they get older and you need them to use the email, that's where your market is, like at the time. So if you're trying to get the younger generation to buy your product, get what you need, you are going to use Snapchat. You're going to use Snapchat video. You're going to use Snapchat ads. You're going to use Instagram ads. You're going to go more to where they're at. And they're not using Snapchat. They're using Snapchat to communicate, you know, not just necessarily text messages, because their parents will see the text messages. Trust me, I got 4 of them.
Right.
So they use that to communicate, not necessarily, you know, but they do see the things that they get, you know, that they get sold to. It just depends on what it is. See, if you're selling shoes, you know, a new boot style that's, you know, trending, you're going to put that on Snapchat. You know, if you're selling, you know, your podcast, that's not necessarily your audience. So you don't really have to worry when they get older. Yeah. And that is your audience. You have to think about who that is. So whether it's, you know, ages 35, you know, to 65, that's who you're catering to. And where are they? What platforms are they using? Where are they most likely to be?
Well, tell us more about Out Loud and where people can find you online and what services you guys provide.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, thank you. So I own Out Loud Social Media. The name is fairly new. I was freelancing and bringing in contractors for quite a few years. And then, you know, when COVID hit, we decided we need a name. And so then I brought on employees and, you know, learned all about that. And so we built, you know, and we grew, and 2021 was an amazing year for us, and we continue to grow. So we did our website, you know, outloudsocialmedia.com. It's not an extravagant website. We're busy working on other people's stuff. We're not web designers either. And it just kind of took off, and I do classes. We're working on another thing of courses for people. And, you know, then of course we provide any kind of social media, mostly organic. We really try to push the organic side of social media to grow you. We really don't want you to have to spend extra money on ads, because they're not really working that great right now. And maybe people out there are like, that's because you don't know what you're doing. Well, maybe not. I don't know. But we really try to grow the organic side depending on what their business model is. And so we do that. And then of course, email marketing, and then text message marketing as well. Cause that, depending on the business, if the text messaging works, like we have a professional organizer. So we're going to be putting her into the text messaging, because wouldn't you love to get a little tip every now and then about, you know, and then that's a way for people for her to stay top of mind to people that sign up for that, to provide value. That's all what social media is, value and entertainment.
Well, thank you so much. Such good information today, and delivered in a hilarious way. Even better.
Awesome. Well, of course, you know, on the side, you know, you guys hit me up for any questions. You know, you guys have my information. Holler at me anytime.
We might just do that. We're probably looking to beef things up maybe in the future.
Well, you got me in your back pocket. I'm good.
Appreciate that.
You want to leave them with an inspirational quote?
Yeah. Inspirational quote. What would be?
It's a quote you look
well, what I tell my kids all the time, that before the word comes out, they hear it, is, do you want to be a part of the problem or part of the solution? That's a big one. And that was one of my best friends, her father, who has passed a couple years ago. That was one of his biggest things. And it just always makes me think in the situation I'm in. And then another one that I wholly live by is, and I don't remember who said it, so I apologize, I don't remember who the quote is from, but it's, women are like tea bags. You don't know how strong they are until you put them in hot water.
Ooh, I love that.
That's great.
Yeah. So those two are my kids all go, do you want to be it? And they go, we got it, Mom. We got it. We got it.
Yeah.
Shut up. We got it.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with us today.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Such a fun chat.
Hi, Daniel. Thanks so much for listening today and supporting the show. Make sure you hit that subscribe button now so you never miss an upload. We're back every Monday with new episodes available wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Also, follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Social Influence Pod for the latest updates on the show and to let us know what influencers you'd like to hear from. Head over to iTunes to rate and review The Influence, a social media podcast, and we'll see you next Monday for another peek behind the upload.
Y'all have a blessed day.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye now. This is the motherfucking new podcast.